Hello students, welcome you all again back on to fourth unit number 4, that is dividend policies. Unit number 4, current assets management and dividend policy. So far we have covered cash management, receivables management, inventory management, working capital management. So 4 topics so far we have completed. Now we are in the last part of this unit number 4, that is dividend policies. Now in this topic of dividend policies, again we will discuss, in the first session we discussed the complete theory of dividend policy. In the next session onwards we'll start the problems on dividend policy. So to begin with, we start with the meaning of the term dividend. Dividend is that part of profit of a company which is distributed among shareholders. So the profit of the company which is distributed to shareholders is called dividend. Actually, the owners of the company are the shareholders. So whatever profit earned by the company, that profit belongs to shareholders. So the company should distribute all the earnings to shareholders because it is their profit. But no company will distribute all the earnings in the form of dividend. Some part of earnings will be kept in reserves. The best example is in our personal life. If a person has an income, let it be of rupees 50,000 per month, will he spend all 50,000 every month? Because it is his earning, his income. So a prudent person will not spend all his 50,000 every month. A part of his earning he will keep as reserves or savings. Why we keep savings? Because life is uncertain, we don't know what will happen in future. And also to take the advantage of profitable opportunities or to expand the assets, we must be financially strong. So a person is financially strong only when he is having a good amount of savings. Same logic will apply to a company also. The company will not distribute all its earning in the form of dividend. A part of the earnings should be kept as reserves or retained earnings. So only a part of the profit which is distributed to shareholders is called dividend. In other words, we can say dividend is the return which shareholders will get from their investment in companies. According to Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, ICAI, dividend means the part of profit or reserves which are available for that purpose distributed among shareholders. This is the complete meaning of the term dividend. Now dividend policy, actually whether to declare the dividend or not to declare the dividend, that right, that power is in the hands of board of directors, because that is the management. The management has to take the decision regarding whether to declare the dividend or not. If they want to declare the dividend, how much a dividend should be declared, and a rigid policy cannot be made. The dividend policy depends on number of factors, on the situations. So every year the policy may change according to circumstances. So dividend policy is concerned with the policy of deciding how much quantum of profit should be distributed in the form of dividend. The nature of dividend policy. See, the dividend policy will have a big impact on the market price of shares. In order to attain the objective of financial management, a correct dividend policy should be made. Even if a wrong dividend policy is made, it will affect the market price of share. That's why finance manager must carefully take the decision regarding dividend. Nature of dividend decision is the total earnings can be divided into 2 parts. The total earnings of the company can be divided into 2 parts. One part is dividend, the other part is retained earnings. If the company declares more dividend, then less amount will be available as retained earnings. If less dividend is declared, more amount of retained earnings. So there is inverse relationship between dividend and retained earnings. So this is the nature of dividend decision. Now conflicting theories. How much to declare or not to declare? We have 2 different conflicting theories of dividend. One theory says dividend decision will have an impact on the market price of share. That means by changing the dividend policy, it will affect the market price of share. The other school of thought says there is no relationship between dividend policy and market price. Whether the company declare more dividend or less dividend, it does not have any impact on the market price of share. So these two theories are completely opposite. That's why it is called conflicting theories. The two theories can be categorized as irrelevance theory and relevance theory. The name itself, concept itself is clear. Irrelevance means no relationship between the dividend policy and the market price of share and valuation of firm. Second, relevance theory. There is relationship between dividend policy and market price of share and the valuation of firm. So these two are the theories. Now irrelevance. First we will discuss about irrelevance concept of dividend. Irrelevance concept of dividend. The main supporter of this irrelevance concept of dividend are Solomon and Modigliani and Miller. They says that there is no relationship between dividend policy and the market price of share. Whatever change you make in the dividend policy, that the market price will remain same. The market price of share depends on the investment policy and earning potentiality of the company, not on the distribution of dividend. Because the shareholders wants earning, they are not concerned with dividend. They will not differentiate between dividend income and capital gain. Dividend income is the income which they receive now, and capital gain they may receive in future when they sell away the shares. When they sell away the share, they will get the capital gain. So they says that if they are not getting the dividend, it does not affect their total wealth. Because whatever they are not getting now, they will get in future in the form of capital gain. आज dividend नहीं मिला तो कोई problem नहीं, future में हमको capital gain मिलेगा. We are discussing about irrelevance concept of dividend. The first school of thought says there is no relationship between dividend policy and the market price of share. The shareholders will not differentiate between dividend income and capital gain. The shareholders think that if they are not getting the dividend right now, it's okay. It doesn't affect their wealth, because whatever they are not getting now, they will get in future in the form of capital gain. That is the contention of these irrelevant theorists like Solomon and Modigliani Miller. So the main supporter of this irrelevance concept was Modigliani and Miller. They are the main supporters. They have given the theory in a comprehensive way about irrelevance concept of dividend. They says there is no relationship whether you pay more dividend, less dividend. There is no response. There is no impact on the market price of the share. They says the market price of the share depends on the investment policy and the earning potentiality of the company, not in the income distribution. Whether income is distributed or not does not affect. Why? They will say they have given the argument in their favor, in this form. If a company is having more profits, more earnings, it has distributed more dividend. अगर कंपनी के पास प्रॉफिट ज्यादा है, डिविडेंड ज्यादा पे कर दिए, तो शेयर होल्डर्स बहुत ही खुश हो जाएंगे. दे आर वेरी हैप्पी एंड द मार्केट प्राइस ऑफ शेयर विल इंक्रीज. Market price of share will increase. But when the company needs funds, the company will acquire the funds from outside. और कंपनी इक्विटी शेयर्स इश्यू करेंगी. जब मार्केट में और इक्विटी शेयर्स इश्यू करेंगी तो नंबर ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर्स विल इंक्रीज. व्हेन नंबर ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर्स विल इंक्रीज, द अर्निंग्स पर शेयर विल कम डाउन. Earnings per share, EPS of the company will come down because more number of shares are issued. So whatever the benefit they got by declaring the dividend, that will be nullified and neutralized by the issue of additional shares. So it will not affect. Dividend issue करे तो market price बढ़ गया, जब और shares issue करे तो market price घट गया क्योंकि EPS कम हो गया, तो दोनों neutralize हो गए, तो कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ा dividend देने से. That is the contention of Modigliani and Miller. But the Modigliani and Miller approach is dependent on number of assumptions. What are the assumptions of Modigliani and Miller? The first assumption says the capital markets are perfect. Capital markets are perfect. perfect capital market means all the people in the market have full information. There are no hiccups, there are no obstacles in raising the capital. कंपनी को जब भी पैसा चाहिए इजीली कैपिटल से मार्केट से रेज कर सकते हैं. देयर इज नो डिफिकल्टी इन रेजिंग द कैपिटल फ्रॉम द मार्केट. दैट इज द परफेक्ट कैपिटल मार्केट. सेकेंडली, रैशनल इन्वेस्टर्स. द इन्वेस्टर्स know every information about the market. The investors take the decisions rationally. Before making the investment, all the pros and cons will be considered by the investors. So investors' decisions are rational decisions. That is the contention that is the assumption of Modigliani and Miller. And Modigliani and Miller says there are no flotation cost, no transaction cost. कंपनी जब शेयर्स इश्यू करेंगे तो फ्लोटेशन कॉस्ट कुछ भी नहीं होगा, और शेयर होल्डर्स जब शेयर्स ट्रांसफर करेंगे तो नो ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट विल बी इनकर्ड. दैट इज द assumption. One more assumption, there are no taxes at all, or there is no difference in the tax rate between dividend tax and capital gain tax. One more assumption is once the rate of return, the rate of return or investment policy of the business is fixed. It is not going to change. Last, one more assumption is the risk or uncertainty is not there. The risk and uncertainty about the cash flows or capital gain or dividend income, there is no uncertainty at all. The future is completely certain. These are the assumptions on the basis of which Modigliani and Miller has given this theory of irrelevance. They says there is no relationship. In support of their theory, they have given one formula also to prove that the wealth of the shareholders will not change by declaring or not declaring the dividend. Next, criticism. Criticisms of approach. Many people have criticized the theory of irrelevance or Modigliani and Miller theory. The main criticisms lies on unrealistic assumptions of this theory. Unrealistic assumptions of this theory. The assumptions are, first of all, this says capital market is perfect. It is not necessary. No capital market will be perfect. Some inefficiency will be there. Imperfectness is there in the markets. Secondly, it says all the investors are rational investors. It's very difficult. Many investors will take the decision on hearsay, without analyzing, without finding out the pros and cons. So like this, the decision making may be irrational. Thirdly, the assumption says there are no taxes at all. In reality, there are taxes, and in reality, the rate of tax on dividend income and capital gain are different. When one very important assumption was there are no flotation costs, no transaction costs, but in reality, whenever company wants to raise the funds from the market, flotation cost will be incurred, and transaction costs are there when a person transfers the shares to another person. So lastly, the assumption says there is no risk and uncertainty, but that is the bad reality. That risk and uncertainty always is there with future. So the investors are not sure about the capital gain or about the dividend income of future. On account of all these assumptions, assumptions, many people have criticized the theory and rejected the theory. This says that whatever Modigliani and Miller says that dividend policy will not have any effect on market price, that is not correct. So this is the irrelevance theory, Modigliani and Miller, assumptions and criticism. Now we'll come to the next topic called relevance theory. This is exactly opposite to irrelevance. Relevance theory. The main supporters of relevance theorists are Myron Gordon, John Linter, James Walter, and Richardson. These are the different persons who supported the theory of relevance. This says that dividend policy will have a direct impact on the market price of share. Hence, the finance manager must use this dividend policy in order to increase the market price of the share. Market price of the share. If a company makes a good dividend policy, then definitely it will have a positive impact on the market price. The market price may increase. If a business follows a wrong dividend policy, the market price will come down. This is the relevance theorist. Relevance theory. They made a relationship between return on investment and cost of capital. Now the main supporter of this relevance theory, is James Walter approach. So Walter was the main supporter of this relevance theory. He says that by changing the market price, by changing the dividend policy, the market price will change. He has given his approach, he has given his theory on the basis of relationship between return on investment and cost of capital. Return on investment R, small r, and cost of equity, cost of capital KE. तो रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन आर एंड के ई, ये दोनों में रिलेशनशिप बनाकर वॉल्टर अपना थ्योरी प्रूफ किया है कि बाय डिक्लेयरिंग डिविडेंड द मार्केट प्राइस विल बी अफेक्टेड. सो ही हैज कैटेगराइज्ड ऑल द फर्म्स इनटू 3 कैटेगरीज: ग्रोथ फर्म, डिक्लाइनिंग फर्म एंड नॉर्मल फर्म. सो वॉल्टर सेज if R is greater than K, internal rate of return on investment is more than the cost of capital. कंपनी जो अर्न कर रही अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट के ऊपर वो ज्यादा है. किससे ज्यादा है? कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल से. तो ये फर्म को ग्रोथ फर्म बोलते हैं. एग्जांपल, XYZ कंपनी अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट के ऊपर 20% रिटर्न अर्न कर रही है. कंपनी जो अपने इन्वेस्ट कर रही है अपने बिजनेस में, तो बिजनेस उसको 20% रिटर्न दे रहा है. ये इंटरनल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न बोलते हैं. कंपनी का जो कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल है, बाहर से पैसा कंपनी रेज करके उसके ऊपर डिविडेंड इंटरेस्ट पे कर रही, वो कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल लेट इट बी 15%. तो कंपनी इज अर्निंग 20%, कंपनी इज पेइंग 15%. R is greater than K. So in this case it is called a growth firm. So for a growth firm, the optimum dividend payout ratio should be 0%. The optimum dividend payout ratio should be 0%. 0% का मतलब ये है कि ऐसी फर्म जो ग्रोथ फर्म है उन्हें डिविडेंड पे नहीं करना, पूरा पैसा अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट, इंटरनल इन्वेस्टमेंट में लगा देना, क्योंकि कंपनी इज अर्निंग मच बेटर देन द शेयर होल्डर्स. अब ये पैसे को कंपनी अर्न बेहतर कर सकती है, शेयर होल्डर बेहतर कर सकता. कंपनी कर सकती, कंपनी को 20% मिल रहा, अगर ये डिविडेंड दे दिया तो शेयर होल्डर्स को 15% मिलेगा. तो इसलिए कंपनी कैन बेटर यूटिलाइज दिस फंड्स. तो कंपनी शुड रिटेन द ऑप्टिमम डीपी रेशियो इज 0% डीपी रेशियो. 0% DP ratio. The dividend should not be paid. Entire amount should be retained in the business. कौन से फर्म के लिए? ग्रोथ फर्म के लिए. अब सेकेंड फर्म इज डिक्लाइनिंग फर्म. ए फर्म वेयर इंटरनल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न इज लेस देन द कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल. कंपनी का जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है उसके ऊपर 15% अर्न कर रहा, 15% अर्न कर, और कंपनी का कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल 20% है. ऐसी कंपनी को डिक्लाइनिंग फर्म कहते हैं. और डिक्लाइनिंग फर्म के लिए ऑप्टिमम डीपी रेशियो 100%, ऑप्टिमम डिविडेंड पेमेंट रेशियो 100%. इसका मतलब कंपनी जितना अर्न कर रही पूरे का पूरा डिविडेंड दे देना, क्योंकि द फंड्स कैन बी बेटर यूटिलाइज्ड बाय द शेयर होल्डर्स, नॉट बाय द कंपनी. कंपनी को खाली 15% मिल रहा है, शेयर होल्डर कैन अर्न 20%. सो दिस इज द थ्योरी फॉर declining firm. Now come to normal firm. A normal firm is that firm where R is equal to K, दोनों equal. Internal rate of return और market price of cost of capital both are equal. जब R और K दोनों equal रहेंगे तो ये firm को normal firm कहेंगे. और normal firm के लिए there is no optimum dividend payment ratio. Whether we pay less dividend or we pay more dividend, the market price of share will remain same, constant. So this is the theory of Walter. In order to prove his theory, he has given one formula also to calculate the market price of share. That is P is equal to D plus R by KE into E minus D divided by K. In the problems, we are going to apply this formula to find out the market price at dividend payout ratios. Right? So this is the Walter's theory. Now assumptions of Walter theory. वॉल्टर थ्योरी का जो बनाया उन्हें कंटेंशन जो कर रहा है कि डिविडेंड पॉलिसी विल अफेक्ट द मार्केट प्राइस ऑफ शेयर, इट इज बेस्ड ऑन सम assumptions. The assumptions, first of all, assumptions are the entire investment will be done from internal retained earnings. No external financing is applied. वॉल्टर ये कह रहा है कंपनी को जितना भी पैसा चाहिए इन्वेस्टमेंट का, वो पैसा अपने रिटेन अर्निंग्स में से ही आएगा, बाहर से एक्सटर्नल फाइनेंसिंग नहीं करेंगे. बट दिस इज रॉन्ग. In reality, Many companies will depend on external financing. इन्वेस्टमेंट पूरा अपने इंटरनल फाइनेंसिंग के ऊपर डिपेंड नहीं करता, एक्सटर्नल फाइनेंसिंग होता है. सेकेंडली, assumption ये है कि the rate of return and the cost of capital are constant, but it is not so. It will change from time to time. The internal rate of return as well as cost of capital will fluctuate, will be different at different point of time. So some criticisms are raised against this Walter's theory. Then we'll come to Gordon's model. One more person was there, just like Walter. Walter relevance theorist है, उसी तरह Gordon भी relevant theorist है. He has given a different formula. He is also the supporter of relevance theory. He says that there is direct relationship between dividend policy and the market price of share. But his approach is dependent on retention ratio rather than payout ratio. Walter's formula is dependent on payout ratio, and Gordon's formula is dependent on retention ratio. So he says that by changing the dividend policy, the market price will also get changed. Only small difference is there between Gordon and Walter. And Walter says when both are equal, when R and K both are equal, it is indifferent. It is indifferent. But Gordon says that when R and K both are equal, it is better to declare the dividend. So some small difference will be there between Gordon and Walter. Now factors affecting dividend policy. See here, apart from these theories, relevant theory and irrelevance theory, some practical factors also must be taken into consideration while calculating the dividend. While declaring the dividend. So what are the factors? We divide the factors into two categories, that is external factors and internal factors. The first we'll discuss about external factors. तो डिविडेंड पॉलिसी डिक्लेयर करने के लिए, डिविडेंड का पॉलिसी अडॉप्ट करने के लिए external factors, general state of economy. See, the economic conditions will not be constant, will not be stable always. There will be business cycles. Sometime boom period, sometime depression period, sometime recovery period. Like this, economy will pass through different stages. So company has to see that at present what is the stage of economy right now it is going on. If it's a boom period means the production is more, consumption is more, public savings are more, public income is more, everything is at its peak. In that case, the company says declare more dividend. क्योंकि इकोनॉमी बूम पर जा रही है, डिविडेंड ज्यादा डिक्लेयर कर देंगे, क्योंकि अगर कंपनी को पैसे की जरूरत पड़ेगी, अगेन कंपनी विल कम टू द कैपिटल मार्केट एंड रेज द फंड्स. द पब्लिक इज हैविंग मोर फंड, तो मोर डिविडेंड विल बी पेड इन द बूम पीरियड. डिप्रेशन में अगर इकोनॉमी चल रही है तो कंपनी विल कीप मोर रिटेन अर्निंग्स, विल पे लेस डिविडेंड. क्योंकि अगर रिटेन अर्निंग्स है हमारे पास तो हम सर्वाइव कर सकते हैं, हम ग्रो कर सकते हैं. अगर डिविडेंड ज्यादा दे देंगे पब्लिक के पास तो फिर हमको अगर कंपनी को पैसे की जरूरत पड़ेगी तो पब्लिक विल नॉट कम फॉरवर्ड टू इन्वेस्ट द मनी. सो द डिविडेंड पॉलिसी डिपेंड्स ऑन द जनरल स्टेट ऑफ इकोनॉमी. स्टेट ऑफ कैपिटल मार्केट. What is the efficiency of the capital market? If the capital market are efficient, easily we can tap the money, easily we can mobilize the money from the capital market, the company will declare more dividend. लेकिन कैपिटल मार्केट अगर स्ट्रिक्ट है, कंपनी का उतना क्रेडिट वर्थिनेस नहीं है, मार्केट से बहुत डिफिकल्टी से कम कैपिटल रेज हो सकता, तो ऐसी कंपनी कम डिविडेंड पे करना, ज्यादा रिटेन अर्निंग रखना. नेक्स्ट है लीगल रेस्ट्रिक्शन. A number of laws will also apply on the company regarding declaration of dividend. Example, Companies Act 2013, Income Tax Act 1961. Many acts, laws are there which restricts a company in declaring the dividend. So that should also be considered. Next one is contractual relationship. Some contractual relationship will be there between the lenders of money and the company. Example, a company bank को approach करके बोला we need 50 lakh rupees loan. The banker has given one restriction that until and unless you repay the loan, your dividend should not exceed 20%. The company has become bound. जब तक के बैंक का लोन वापस नहीं करेंगे तब तक 20% से ज्यादा डिविडेंड नहीं पे कर सकते. ये रेस्ट्रिक्शन हो गया. This is the contractual restriction. Lastly, tax policy. Before declaring the dividend, the company has to see what is the impact of tax. Nowadays, the government, the tax policy is encouraging the companies to retain more earnings. Incentives will be provided to those companies which retained money. The company which declare more dividend, they have to pay more taxes. तो company has to consider कि कंपनी ज्यादा डिविडेंड पे करेंगे तो टैक्स ज्यादा जा रहा, लिहाजा डिविडेंड जरा कम पे करेंगे टैक्स कम जाता. Like that also the company has to take into consideration. These are the external factors. Now internal factors, within the company के internal factors को भी consider करना पड़ेगा when it takes the dividend. First, desire of the shareholders. What the shareholders desire. Shareholders जब invest करता कंपनी में तो क्या expectation से invest करता? He wants the dividend. जैसा a person has invested the money in the bank. Why he is invested in the bank? To get the interest. Similarly, a person has invested in shares of a company to get the dividend. So it is the responsibility of the board of directors to declare the dividend because it is a desire of the shareholders. Next is financial needs of the company. Dividend also dependent on the financial needs of the company. अगर कंपनी को पैसे की जरूरत नहीं है, कंपनी के पास कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है, तो बेटर द कंपनी विल पे द डिविडेंड. हाँ, इफ द कंपनी हैज गुड इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज अवेलेबल, then the company is suggested to retain a big part of earning and pay small amount of dividend. Next one is nature of earnings. Whether the earnings of the company are stable or fluctuating, that also affect the dividend policy. अगर कोई कंपनी के पास stable earnings है, earnings पूरे stable है, तो कंपनी can declare more dividend. Whereas if the company's earnings are fluctuating, come down, कभी कम हो रहा, कभी ज्यादा हो रहा, तो ऐसी कंपनी कम डिविडेंड पे करना. डिविडेंड मस्ट बी लेस बिकॉज नेक्स्ट ईयर अगर कंडीशंस अगर ठीक नहीं है, लॉस में जा रही है या बिल्कुल कम प्रॉफिट है, तो कंपनी सडनली प्रॉफिट डिविडेंड को कम नहीं करना. फ्लक्चुएशन ऑफ डिविडेंड शुड नॉट बी देयर. तो स्टेबलाइजिंग द डिविडेंड वी नीड स्टेबल इनकम. नेक्स्ट है डिजायर ऑफ कंट्रोल. डायरेक्टर्स ये चाहते हैं कि कंट्रोल शुड नॉट बी डाइल्यूटेड. कंट्रोल डाइल्यूट नहीं होना. जितने ज्यादा नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स रहेंगे उतना कंट्रोल डाइल्यूटेड रहता. कम शेयर्स अगर रहेंगे तो कंट्रोल स्ट्रॉन्ग रहता, कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड रहता. तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स ये कहते हैं प्रेजेंटली वी हैव 1 लाख शेयर्स, 1 लाख शेयर होल्डर्स. तो सपोज इफ 1 लाख शेयर होल्डर्स आर देयर, वी कैन सक्सेसफुली मैनेज. अगर हम और ज्यादा मार्केट में शेयर्स इश्यू करेंगे, 1,50,000 शेयर्स अगर हो जाएंगे, तो हमारा कंट्रोल वीक हो जाएगा. So in order to have a good control, they will declare less dividends so that they can be able to have more retained earnings. They can expand